Eric, we are so excited to have you on the show today. This is fun because I think this is the first time that you and I have actually
It
spoken
is.
in person. We've been texting and emailing for I don't know
Yes.
how many
For
years.
years.
For
Yes.
years. You were such an inspiration to me and such a good friend, and I appreciate our friendship
Thank
and how
you.
it's blossomed over
Likewise.
here. Yeah, so it's really nice to actually be on
And nice to
Zoom.
meet you for me
Yeah.
because we've never actually met. I know your name, but
Hmm.
we've never met. And like, obviously, I hear that voice. Okay, gorgeous.
Yes,
Thank
it's
you.
beautiful.
Nice to meet you too, Michelle.
Yeah.
Well, Eric, he's a voice actor. He's a classically trained vocalist. Um, 1.8 million followers on TikTok. Is that right? I just looked this
And
morning.
growing.
1.8 followers
Yeah. And
and growing
growing.
by the
I
day.
just
20
went,
million likes.
yeah. I just went past 400 and I think 10 or 11 million, 410,000 followers on
Oh
YouTube,
On
gosh.
something like
YouTube?
that.
Yeah,
And,
unbelievable. So,
yeah.
Eric, first of all, before the whole TikTok craze, and I want to get to that, I want to hear about how you got started into voiceover, just a little bit of your backstory.
Uh, it's pretty simple, really. I was always a singer here. Been singing since I was 5 years old. Started in church and just been singing around here, Tampa Bay, Florida, pretty much all my life. A friend of mine would invite me over to a local celebrity DJ at the time, Ted Webb, and Ted was a big karaoke buff. He actually had a karaoke setup in his living room. He didn't have living room furniture. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So anyway, my friend would invite me to Ted's house for these karaoke parties. And to me, whenever I thought karaoke, I'm thinking, okay, a lot of people drunk, slobbing over a mic, can't really sing that well, but they're having fun. And to me, that just wasn't, my idea of fun. So he persisted, and eventually I gave in. I said, okay, I'll go with you. So I went, and Ted actually met us at the door, and I said, hey, how you doing? And right away he picked up on my voice, and he just kind of fell in love with it. And so the karaoke party actually turned out to be one of the best memories of my life because it wasn't anything like I imagined. These people were business owners, business people, professionals, laymen, from all walks of life, but they all had a love of singing
Mm.
and they all could sing. And so that was my kind of party. I sang and of course, as they say, the rest is history. But yeah, so Ted kind of brought me under his wings, and he said, "Man, that voice." He was really enthralled with my voice, and he had a little studio set up in his garage, and he invited me to come over sometime just to learn, what it takes to set up a little home DAW studio, all that kind of thing. Because he was like, "Dude, you should get into voiceover."
Mm.
And so he introduced me to voices.com. He introduced me to Voice 123. Those I think those were the only two out at the time.
Mhm.
And so I joined those sites. I set up my little DAW. I had a Samsung, not Samsung, a Samsung microphone. It was like $50 I bought. And I'm in the middle of my den at home where there's no
Yeah.
treatment or anything, but I had my little DAW set up and I started practicing mic technique and stuff like that and some other things Ted showed me. And so it kind of grew from there.
Well, what I find fascinating is you've done voiceover, and then all of a sudden this TikTok thing comes out. And so now, like, I'm seeing you everywhere. And tell us a little bit more about this TikTok thing. Can you,
How did that
for
even
someone who,
happen?
yeah, for
Yeah.
someone who has no idea of your backstory and, have seen
Yeah.
any of your videos, how did that start? And why did it start?
Well, why it started was because I've always been one of those people who followed the social trends as far as, like when YouTube first came out, I signed up to YouTube.
Mm.
So I've been on YouTube since it came out in 2006. I
Okay.
didn't put my first YouTube video up until 3 years later in 2009. And then for those first 3 years or so, I only put up holiday videos every December, you know? and then people would request songs, different songs. I started learning more songs and building my repertoire, and that's how my YouTube channel started. So TikTok was the new kid on the block.
Yeah.
And I'd say around 2021 or so, it was really gaining prominence as the social media platform. And so I remember telling my wife, I'm like, I got to do something on TikTok. I had like 2 or 3 videos on there. I wasn't posting anything consistently. They were just kind of sitting there like paperweight. And so at the end of 2021, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to make it a mission to figure out TikTok and do something on TikTok. And so sure enough, that next year, 2022, around the end of January, I had kind of a plan in my head as far as how I was going to do this. So I started studying the site. I'm a big research person, so I'll spend a lot of time studying and researching and browsing and stuff like that before I make a move. Yeah. And so I got a lay of the land, how it was structured, what was popular as far as in my genre, singing and voiceover stuff. And one of the things I noticed on TikTok was they had this thing called duets. And I have I've always loved to harmonize with people.
Oh, I love that.
Or any song on the radio, or if somebody's singing, I just had the ability to hear the harmony and just start singing. And I always loved doing that. So when I saw the duet thing and I kind of figured out how that worked, I started looking for people who were singing either solos or groups, and then I would add my bass in with it.
Can we just stop you for a minute? Like, I'm hoping we can get one of those clips to piece in here.
Ready to know what the people know. Ask them my questions and get some answers. What's a fire and why does it? What's the word? Burn. When did my turn? Wouldn't I love to explore that shore up above?
So I figured that would be my way in, my niche. And I started doing that. And then I got the idea of doing multi-track background harmonies, because that was something I was doing on YouTube, and people were really into me covering all the parts of the song, multi-tracking myself.
Love it.
And I didn't see a lot of that happening on TikTok either. So I said, well, I know I could multi-track the background harmonies for a song. And then it was a question of, how do I get people to duet me? And so I using a bit of psychology, I was thinking, I said, I could make it a statement like duet this song, or I could make it a question, which plays on people's ego usually, and ask the question, could you be a lead singer? And so it took me out of the spotlight. It put them in the spotlight.
That's
and it
brilliant.
also challenged them, because, if you ask a question and somebody's singing and this and that, oh, of course I could be a lead singer. What do you got?
Yeah.
So that was my strategy. So my first video that I did in that way was the Temptations' My Girl.
Oh.
And so I did the background harmonies, and I challenged people, can you be a lead singer? Could you be a lead singer? And I just put the video up, and within a week, that video had over 1 million views.
Oh my gosh.
And that became like my first viral video. And that was early February. And I had just started doing this late January.
When you saw those numbers start, two things. One, that's really smart, because not only are you engaging your audience, but you're engaging all these other people's TikTokers' audiences, right? Because they're trying to show, so like expands your audience, I guess. And also, like, what was your reaction when you first saw, like, you woke up and you were like, what? Like, that got how many views?
I was blown away, and I didn't know if this was a fluke
Right.
I didn't know if this was a one-off. I didn't know, you know, I didn't know anything about it because, like I said, this was early February, and I had just started consistently posting at around the end of January, and that was another thing,
Wow.
the consistency of my posting.
Mhm.
I knew that if I was going to do this, I had to be consistent in my posting, and
What
I
is
was thinking,
consistent though? How many times a week?
well, for me, I was thinking, I said, you know, I said maybe once a week. I
Mhm.
said, no, that's not enough. I
Yeah.
said twice a week. And I was thinking that wasn't even enough. And I told my wife, I said, you know what? I'm going to have to post a new video every day.
Oh, wow.
And I had no idea what I was going to post every day because I still have my voiceover
Yeah.
career that I'm
Right. Yeah.
doing. I have other projects that I'm working on, you know, I have my family, my life, my personal life. But
Mhm.
and I didn't know how much it would entail as far as me actually videoing myself and recording myself doing that
Yeah.
every day different.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
And so I actually prayed for creativity. You know, I prayed for creativity. I prayed for insight, and I guess you could say those prayers were answered because as I look back now, I literally posted a new video every day last year.
Wow.
Um, there were some times when I would like take a day off, but for the most part, I posted every day. And so with that consistency, I think that was a big part of it because that's when I started learning about this for you page on TikTok and what that was all about. And so I guess once you get caught up in the algorithms, or at least back then, because
Mhm.
it always, you know,
Changes.
evolves and changes.
Yeah.
But back then, once you got caught up in the algorithms as being a popular video, TikTok would place you on people's for you page. And so I started getting notices that, oh man, I saw you on you came up on my for you page, and you know, then there was a hashtag for you and all that kind of stuff. And so I think the consistency of posting and then being placed on the algorithm and TikTok sending me to different people's for you page, you know, that really helped
Yeah.
and the growth that I had. But still, I didn't have any idea, like I said, if that first one was just going to be a one-off or you know, you just don't know. And so I had a simple formula in my head then how I was going to proceed with TikTok after that. And between letting people hear my voice, which I think is very different than most bass voices, um, it was kind of like me introducing my voice to the world. And
Mhm.
and then whatever came of that, you know, it is what it is.
Right.
And to my surprise and delight, people just really gravitated toward the tone and the sound of my voice, and not just that, my personality, the way
Yeah.
I, you know,
Mhm.
present myself in my videos, which is actually who I am. I'm not
Yep.
just putting on an act or anything.
Right.
I enjoy life, and you can hear a lot of that in my videos. I enjoy my voice, and you can hear a lot of that in my videos, you know.
There's a warmth.
Um,
Yeah.
The
and
warmth and a
so
naturalness to it,
Yeah.
right?
Relatability, warmth.
Yeah.
yeah, you
Yeah.
know, and I don't get on there to try to prove anything. I don't get on there to try to put anybody else's talent and abilities down because naturally I think it's human nature for there to be a sense of competition. And there were some other guys on TikTok and other social sites that were bass voices and doing their thing. And it wasn't my intent to compete with them at all, but most people, of course, they would want me to challenge them or compete with them. And I would say freely, no,
Yeah.
I'm not here to compete. I don't have to compete. This is what I do. They
Yeah.
do what they do, you know. If you like them, fine. If you like me, fine. You can like both of us, you know. So I never compete with anybody. Um, I just do my thing and hope people enjoy it. And it seems like a lot of people do enjoy it. And so,
I would say a few.
but for me, it's about the musicality, the song, the harmony, you know,
Mm. I
and
kind of
that's
want to
what I love.
sing with you, but I'm like, I'm, I'm like, I'm gonna go do a duet. Like, I'm not on TikTok. That's like the last frontier. I'm like, do I really want to go on there? Is that going away? Because remember they were gonna close it out
Right,
at one point. I
right.
was like, I don't know,
Well,
but I don't know.
it has changed.
Mm.
I after, let me put it like this. When I had a particular goal in mind, because my purpose on being on TikTok was to bring me more opportunities in
Right.
voiceover,
Yeah.
basically.
And has it?
It has. And
Okay.
it also has brought me opportunities in singing as well.
Interesting.
Yes,
So,
tell us about the opportunities that you can share.
well,
I know you have a lot of things in the works.
I've been approached by certain brands, to do voiceover stuff.
Nice.
I've been approached by various like producers or people in film, stuff like that, who would like to use my voice in different aspects of what they're doing. Um, it's given me a visibility that I never had before.
Right.
And that goes across all different types of industries and genres. And so it also has opened up um, opportunities for me to do some of the things that I wanted to do, but the followers, those numbers, that's what a lot of people look at. They look at that first, you know. I guess at this point I'm considered an influencer.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so just with that title, I'm privy to certain opportunities, whether it's somebody who wants to put an ad on one of my YouTube videos and pay me for that, or
Yeah.
they want me to actually be a part of the ad or voice the ad, or, a whole number of different things. So,
That's
and
awesome.
it got to a point to where I started getting bombarded with so many inquiries that I brought in one of my agents to help go through that and feel through them, because some are bogus.
Right.
You got a lot of bogus stuff out there,
Yes.
but some were very legit. And one of the biggest ones I can share with you, and this is might be controversial to some people, but Jess, me and you talked about this, was my AI synth voice, Asterion. I was approached by this company, and this wasn't the first time, but I was approached by this company, Eclipse Sounds, last year, and they were developing a series of synth voices for, composers, musicians who want to use those types of products for, like, if they're songwriters, you can program my voice or somebody else's voice, a female's voice, and have that, kind of play your song, sing your song, and you send that, shop that around for people to buy your song or whatever. So at the time, like I said, it's kind of controversial. It's still a little controversial, but for me, I thought that AI singing was a bit different than AI voicing, because I didn't want AI to replace what I do for a living.
Right.
But I didn't mind having an AI singing voice
Yeah,
out there that people could use for their songwriting and to showcase, what they do with that. And the way the software and program is structured, they can't just use it and go off and kind of do their own thing. It has some boundaries and things in place. And then I added some of my own protections in place.
Smart.
And they agreed to all my things that I wanted to interject in the contract. And they were actually willing and helpful in, providing even more protection, to safeguard me and my talent in that way. So to me, it was just a win-win. And then instead of looking at it like me jumping on the bandwagon after this thing kind of explodes, because AI, I knew it wasn't going to go anywhere.
Right.
It was just a matter of us learning how to use it as a tool, which it is. That's what it is. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And so then I kind of saw myself as being kind of like a founder on the forefront of this technology by allowing myself to be a part of this software.
Not be scared to take that step forward. And
it was something that I really had to deeply think about. And then they asked me if I wanted to be anonymous, or if I wanted them to let people know it was me behind the voice. And I had to really think about that too. And
yeah, that's a tough one.
Everything that was going on in the conversations and the voiceover groups, all of that I was taking into consideration, you know, the fallout, all of that. And it was a tough decision, but like I said, I knew AI wasn't going anywhere. And this was before actually Chat GTP, you know. So I knew AI wasn't going anywhere. But it was just a matter of, like I said, do I want to just jump on the bandwagon after it takes off?
Right.
Want to be like
ahead of it.
Part of that, yeah, get ahead of it and be part of one of those founders who were brave enough to kind of use this thing and protect themselves at the same time.
Right.
And so I took that choice, and so far it's paid off. And so I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I was open about putting my name on it and owning it. And I actually negotiated with them to allow me to be the brand ambassador.
Nice.
And so
see, Eric's smart. He's smart dude.
Oh yeah.
I try to be.
He's a smart
you're not just a voice. You're
Yeah.
the entrepreneur. You're the
Yeah, it's all of that, you know. It's all of that. And the why, you know, because everybody's like, what's your why?
Yeah.
The why is my kids, my grandkids, and their kids, my legacy. You know, I'm doing all this because I want to leave a name for them, a legacy for them, and they can carry that on as far as they want or think they have to. But it's kind of cool when my friends, not my friends, but my kids' friends and my grandkids' friends even, you know, come to them and say, hey, I saw your granddad's video, or I saw your dad's video. And he's like, that's so cool, you know, and this and that. And they're like, yeah, it's pretty cool. You know,
granddad's on TikTok, like way too cool of a granddad.
Right. You know,
right.
And as far as TikTok goes, that was another thing that kind of crossed my mind a bit. You know, I'm 57 years old. I'll be 58 in March. And TikTok was at the time known as one of these things where, you know, a bunch of kids are on there dancing.
Young people, yeah.
Yeah, it was a young people's platform, or at least that was the perception. But I never held myself against joining any platform based on that.
Right.
You know, one of the things I tell people all the time is that, you know, they say, well, I wish I could get on there and this, and, you know, I play guitar or I play piano or I sing or I dance, whatever it is, skill they might have. I say, just put yourself out there.
All right, you're motivating me to like maybe try.
Hey, Michelle.
Well, not about me, but my dog, Kevin, my pretend dog. Anyway, we don't need to interview. We don't need to bring that into the conversation. Yeah, I'm creative and kind of quirky and weird, and I do put some funny videos out there, but they never go nobody, you know, they don't go anywhere. Nobody cares, you know.
Well, see, again, I don't think there's any particular formula.
Yeah.
I just, you know, I followed my own advice and I just put myself out there.
Yeah.
You know, I have fun doing these videos. I have fun duetting other people singing. I have fun being silly sometimes. I have a lot of silly videos that show my humor.
Yeah.
And that was something else too. I wanted to be able to show all sides of me, not just me having a deep voice, you know.
Yeah.
And that's how people kind of gravitate. They get to know who you are, you know. So I wanted to show kind of all sides of me. And I'm a humorous guy. If you hung around me, you know, I'm one of those guys that's always kind of tripping around and you know, just joking around and stuff like that. And I like other people to be happy. I like to make people smile. You know, I grew up as the class clown in school and all that kind of thing. And it wasn't so much for attention. I like to see people happy.
Yeah, I get that so much.
And now one of my big things is just being kind, you know, because you don't know how the things you say might affect somebody or what they're going through at the time you say it.
Yep.
And I've received just so many comments from people who say that my video gave them a new perspective. It gave them a strength they didn't think they had. It helped them through a moment, a period, a tragedy, a circumstance, whatever it might be. It gave them the courage to do what they always wanted to do as far as putting something on social media, trying to do something, you know, I get so many positive comments. So that energizes me, you know, and that keeps me wanting to produce. But going back to the goal I mentioned earlier,
Yes.
I said that, okay, if I was going to be attractive to brands and advertisers, I set it at 1 million followers because I thought, you know, that would be a big enough number that would draw somebody's attention. It's like, okay, hey, this guy's got 1 million followers. He must be doing something, you know.
Yeah.
As far as
Pay
brands go,
attention.
you know,
Yep.
analytics and all that, you know,
Yep.
that's what they look at. And so 1 million was like, that was my goal in the back of my head. How long that would take to achieve, I had no idea, you know, but that was my goal. So from that January 22, when I started consistently posting, I had achieved 1 million followers by that July, August.
What?
22.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. So it
gosh.
took almost 6-7 months.
Did your
to
wife
get
and you
1 million
celebrate
followers.
when that happened? Were like, what
Oh,
you?
I
Yeah.
I celebrate every
I love it.
milestone.
I love it.
And that's something that I tell people also. Like if you went out for an audition and you got the gig, go celebrate. You know, go buy yourself a drink or a nice dinner or something.
You gotta
Celebrate all those moments. I celebrate everyone. You know, so yeah, of course, when you know, and I'm thankful for everyone.
Right.
You know, and I let people know that as well.
Yes.
Once my popularity started to rise as it did on TikTok, a phenomena occurred across my other social platforms, Instagram and YouTube, to where they started just exponentially rising.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube in particular. In September of 2022, I had about 5,700 followers on YouTube. By November of 2022, I got my $100,000 gold button plaque.
Wow.
And of course, now, like I said, I just went over 410,000 followers on YouTube. And so one of the things I knew about YouTube, because this is what a lot of people want, they want to make money. That's the bottom line. How can I
it's
get
helpful.
paid? Yeah, how can I get paid? I see you're doing a lot of things, Eric, but are you getting paid? And so, and I knew, you know, that YouTube, out of all the platforms, they paid better than anyone else as far as popular videos and all that kind of thing, sponsorships, all that. And so when my YouTube started to grow, that really got me excited. I mean, TikTok had their creators fund and all that kind of thing, and they've, you know, been playing around with it over the years and developing and changing it and this and that. Instagram, I think they had one, but then they took theirs away, and I think now they might be bringing it back or something like that. I don't think Facebook ever had one. But YouTube, I knew you could make money off YouTube, particularly the long form videos. The more you have people sitting there watching your stuff, the better that is
versus
for
the shorts.
And all that. Yeah. So anyway, and then the shorts was a whole new thing on YouTube.
Yes.
And it's kind of, the timing for me was kind of perfect, because right at the time when TikTok was spilling over into my growth on YouTube, that's when YouTube started developing their whole shorts thing.
Right.
To kind of challenge TikTok and Instagram Reels and all that kind of stuff. And then they went even further, and they created a whole different shorts kind of industry, if you will, within YouTube. And so you could now monetize the shorts, because initially you couldn't really monetize your shorts.
Oh, okay.
But YouTube developed it to where you could monetize your shorts. And so then I had this whole catalog of videos from TikTok. And I'm like, why don't I just start putting some of those shorts from TikTok onto my YouTube and
you already had them.
Create my shorts there.
Yeah.
And so that's what I started doing. And the more people that got to know me, huh?
And it's resonating over there too.
Right. And not just that, I also knew that a lot of these guys that people wanted me to compete against, I had to, in a way, become partners with them, because I wasn't there to compete. I want to get to know these guys.
Right.
I want to sing with these guys.
Yeah.
I want to sing with other people, so that's where the collaboration started. The next big viral thing on TikTok was, and this really blew me away, when I came across this video of these two guys singing. One was Miracle of Sound, one was Peyton Parrish. And for those who know the Viking culture, music, and all that, they know who those people are.
Okay.
They were singing one of Miracle of Sound's probably biggest songs, Valhalla Calling. And I came across these two guys singing that. And again, I'm looking for things I can duet, add my bass to. I kind of coined the phrase bass harmony.
I see your hat, got bass, right?
Yeah, I got bass, and that's a whole nother
That's
thing,
your merch.
as far as my merch. All of that came, that came out of this.
Awesome.
So I duetted them singing Valhalla Calling. I put my own special kind of spin on it, like I do with my bass voice. And lo and behold, that thing just went crazy. And that introduced me to the whole genre of Viking / sea shanty type music. And the
who knew there was that
culture.
Sea shanty.
You mentioned you're doing Viking music. I was like, what is that?
I had no idea, but I mean,
fell into a Viking ship and sailed off.
I had no idea it existed. I was just duetting a couple of guys and adding my harmony, 3-part harmony, and it sounded good. And I put it up there like I put up every other video. Peyton Parrish and not Calm. I'm sorry, I can't think of his name right now, but he knows who he is, and everybody else does.
Yeah.
I duetted the two of them singing My Mother Told Me. And that one is actually pinned at the top of my TikTok page. Okay. That one is nearing 45 million views.
Oh my God, Eric.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
My mother told me someday I would buy galleys with good oars, sail to distant shores, stand up on the prow, noble bark I steer, steady course to the haven, humanity foeman, humanity foeman.
That is my most popular TikTok video, probably my most popular video on all my platforms. But My Mother Told Me, that trio is one of my most popular. Now, coming back to, like I said, making money, because I know a lot of people want to know, well, how can I make money? How can I make money? So the collaborations, people wanted me to do a full length song of Valhalla Calling with Miracle of Sound and Peyton Parrish. So Miracle of Sound actually contacted me and said, hey, dude, I'm just getting bombarded with people wanting us to do this thing. So you want to do it? I was like, sure, let's do it. And so, we worked out the details, and we recorded the whole song, the three of us, and we put it up on Spotify, or not just Spotify, but we distributed it on streaming. And so now that particular trio has streamed over, I think it's close to 12 million streams.
Gosh.
And you get paid for that.
I was going to say, that's like that'll make some money.
Yeah. So if you're thinking about how can I get paid, you get paid for streams like that.
Okay.
And then again, I collaborated with some of the bass singers of TikTok, and that's actually in the title, doing Hoist the Colors. And that particular stream is nearing 8 million streams. And we get paid for that.
So does the money come more from like the collaborations, the things that come out, versus the actual just views of your TikTok or your YouTube?
Well, see, the views on TikTok, like I said, they have a creators fund, but I never really looked at that as any type
Major
of
income.
source for income.
Okay.
It's what you can develop out of that.
Right. What relationships and
Relationships, and that's what I
experiences and
said.
things that could come up. Yeah.
I developed relationships with these guys who were doing what I was doing, and everybody was kind of challenging me to compete with them. I didn't compete. I wanted to have relationships with them, and that's what I did. Yeah, we're all in this thing because we love the music. That's first.
Yeah.
And of course, if you can make money off of it and make a living off of it, that's great too.
Extra blessing there.
Absolutely. So
yeah.
I'm making a decent monthly income across all my social media platforms at the moment.
Nice.
And I'll just leave it at
aside
that.
from doing voiceover, right?
Aside from doing voiceover or anything else.
Yeah.
This is what they call residual income or passive income. Where you're making money in your sleep.
Yep. You have motivated me a little to maybe check out TikTok and definitely check out your channel because I'm so excited. I did look up some of your stuff, and like I said, I've known your name, but I didn't know much about you. And I was just like blown away with your talent, like just like your singing voice. You did an operatic thing. I saw like a clip of.
Yeah, I'm actually classically trained.
Yes.
I was a part of a community chorus or a community choir many moons ago. They called me down to ask to speak to me, and they were asking me if I had ever had training because they loved my voice. I guess it stood out, you know. Well, they offered me a voice scholarship on the spot, and that's when I became a student, a full-time student at St. Pete College under a voice scholarship.
Wow.
And that's when I was introduced to the world of opera, and I started doing some singing competitions and, you know, getting some very formal training. My first voice lessons occurred then. And
I like Blast Nessum Dorma like all the time. Like I love.
Yes.
That's like, that one just gets my soul. I don't even know what he's saying, but it gets me like, oh, you know, it's like that big crescendo.
Beautiful. It's beautiful music. It's beautiful singing. I still listen to operas today, and I'm not sure exactly what they're singing, but it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's just beautiful music, beautiful singing, and that's what moves me. And I've always wanted to move people with my voice, and that's what I like to present. Thank you.
You have succeeded, I would say. And I love that. You are who you are, and you're not going after money. You're just going after living who God created you to be and just showing the world. And it's been wonderful talking and hearing your story. And I finally get to meet you in person. Well,
one day. We were so close once.
We were like 20 minutes away.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
The timing just didn't work.
We were in St. Petersburg.
I felt so bad about that.
No, don't feel bad. No, we had to catch an early flight, and he got off for something, and we're like,
for sure. I was just in New York a couple of weeks ago, and this is also on my socials, where I recorded my first solo album project, and it'll be coming out next year. So I encourage people to look for that and follow me and like and share. You know, I don't always ask people to do that. I don't throw that in people's face. You know, but of course, that's what helps us to continue to do what we do. Thank you
so much for taking the time to be on our little silly show here.
No, thanks for the invite.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
As people say, that's what happens. That's the industry. And so, is that me?
I was going to say, why did you just have confetti?
How did you do that?
How did you do that?
I didn't know I did that.